The Disney name brings to mind a catalog full of beloved animated films, from Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs to Frozen. In the last few years, though, computer graphics and special effects have advanced to the point that the studio no longer has to rely on animation to tell their beloved tales. And it's led to a new era of live-action remakes of the studio's hefty catalog of animated masterpieces. After dipping its toes in live-action remakes with 101 Dalmatians in the 1990s, in the 2000s, Disney started churning them out in earnest. From Alice in Wonderland and Maleficent to Cinderella, The Jungle Book, and Beauty and the Beast, Disney's live-action renaissance is in full swing. Currently, there are a whopping 20 live-action remakes in various stages of development and production at Disney right now. In this video, we're talking about all of them, from the ones that will come out this year to those that we won't see until years from now. Let's get started. The first remake we'll be seeing in 2019 is Dumbo. The movie is highly anticipated and is expected to do well when it hits theaters on March 29th. Dumbo is the story of a big-eared baby elephant who is the laughingstock of the circus. That is, until the circus learns that Dumbo can fly. The live-action version of the film is directed by the quirky Tim Burton and stars big names like Colin Farrell, Danny DeVito, Eva Green, Michael Keaton, and Alan Arkin. Dumbo, of course, will be an entirely computer-generated creation. Also coming out this year is Aladdin, helmed by gritty director Guy Ritchie and with new songs by Oscar-winning songwriters Benj Pesek and Justin Paul. So far, the biggest news surrounding the film has been all about Will Smith's Genie. The character was brought to life by Robin Williams in the original animated version and has become one of the most revered performances in Disney animated history. That's left Smith a whole lot to live up to. So far, though, most of the talk about the Genie has centered on his appearance. When Smith appeared on the cover of Entertainment Weekly for a first look at the film, outcry quickly followed because the character wasn't blue in the photos as he was in the animated movie. After reassuring fans that his character would indeed be blue, the first Aladdin trailer dropped, showing Smith in Genie's full blue glory. Fans were underwhelmed. Reactions ranged from disappointed to downright frightened. On Twitter, users called Genie a Smurf centaur and said he made them want to uninvent CGI. The movie is scheduled to be released on May 24th. We'll see if the creative team has managed to make Genie more acceptable to the ticket-buying public. Genie might also get his own movie, Genies, an original story that tells the tale of how he got stuck in the lamp in the first place. But if Aladdin doesn't live up to expectations, that movie may end up shelved. This next film revolves around a deep cut from Disney's legion of animated characters, Chernabog, the winged devil seen in Fantasia's Night on Bald Mountain sequence. In the segment, Chernabog awakens a horde of spirits. They fly around, dance, fall into a fiery pit, and generally wreak havoc until the morning comes. Chernabog is one of the darkest characters in Disney's history, easily. The goal would be to tell the story from Chernabog's perspective, similar to what was done with Maleficent in her 2014 self-titled film. So far, writers have been hired, but the movie is early in its development. The live-action remake of The Jungle Book, directed by Jon Favreau, was a smash hit in 2016. Based on that success, it's no wonder Disney is planning to make a sequel. Favreau will return as director for The Jungle Book 2, along with screenwriter Justin Marks and actor Neil Sethi, who starred as Mowgli. What more could there be to the story of the man cub? According to screenwriter Marks, there's plenty of ideas to mine from the source material, Rudyard Kipling's The Jungle Book. There's also a sequel to this story. In addition, Bill Peet wrote a screenplay for the animated film that went unused. Marks said he'll draw from both sources. Currently, Favreau is putting the finishing touches on another movie on this list, which we will get to shortly, and won't start The Jungle Book 2 until that one is completed. That means we'll probably be waiting at least another couple of years for this movie. Most Disney fans love the company's princesses, and Disney is planning to remake Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs just for them. Unlike Universal Studios' recent twist on the tale for its movie Snow White and the Huntsman, this would be a faithful adaptation of Disney's very first full-length animated film. Screenwriter Aaron Cressetta Wilson is on board to pen the script, and songwriters Pasek and Paul will contribute new music. We're just hoping for an updated version of the dwarves' Hi-Ho. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs isn't the only snow-related movie Disney has in the works. It's also developing Rose Red, about Snow's lesser-known sister. The character appeared in Grimm's fairy tales as a companion to Snow White, but her tale is unlike the Snow White story popularized by Disney. However, when writer Evan Dougherty came up with a twist on Rose Red's story that made it a companion piece to Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, Disney jumped at the idea. The movie would revise the story to include Rose Red and a Snow White story. Specifically, after Snow White falls into a coma after biting the poison apple, Rose Red teams up with the dwarves to save her sister. Disney recently announced that it was developing an adaptation of The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Despite being amazing, it wasn't Disney's most popular animated movie when it was released in 1996. The remake, though, has some great talent attached. Josh Gad, better known as Olaf the Snowman in Frozen, or LeFou in that other Disney live-action remake, Beauty and the Beast, is executive producing. He also may star as Quasimodo, although no official casting decisions have been made yet. Also, playwright David Henry Wang will be writing the script for the movie, and Alan Menken and Stephen Schwartz, the songwriting duo from the original, will be back to take care of the music. This next movie features a pair of Disney's classic characters, Chip and Dale. The movie would be based on the cartoon series Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, which ran for 3 seasons in the late 80s and early 90s. In the show, the Chipmunks ran a detective agency that helped animal clients. In this remake, Chip, Dale, and their other animal pals will be brought to life the same way Alvin and the Chipmunks were in their recent live-action/CG features. The Little Mermaid kicked off a Disney animation renaissance in the 80s and 90s, so it was probably only a matter of time before it got the live-action treatment. The movie's currently in development with Rob Marshall, who helmed last year's Mary Poppins Returns, set to direct. Lin-Manuel Miranda will be working on new music with the original animated movie's composer, Alan Menken. No cast has been announced yet, but there are rumors that Zendaya could star as Ariel and that Lady Gaga might take the role of the duplicitous sea witch Ursula. The Sword in the Stone, based on the legend of King Arthur, is one of Disney's lesser-known animated movies, but a live-action remake of the film offers a perfect opportunity for the studio to dip into the fantasy genre. A Game of Thrones writer and producer, Brian Cogman, penned the screenplay, and Juan Carlos Fresnadillo, who helmed 28 Weeks Later, was announced as the project's director last year. The remake is being made specifically for Disney's new streaming service, Disney+, on which the studio is planning to release 4 or 5 original movies a year. The Sword in the Stone is supposed to debut with the platform when it launches later in 2019. However, there haven't been any updates about the project recently. One of the cool things about Disney's live-action remakes, like Maleficent, is that they're revisionist takes on the original stories Disney fans know so well. So far, though, we haven't gotten any insight into the point of view of Disney's many princes. Well, that's about to change with the upcoming live-action Prince Charming. There have been a few Prince Charmings in Disney history, but this movie will center on Cinderella's man. The perks of being a wallflower's Steven Chbosky was hired to pen the screenplay and possibly direct the movie. Matt Fogel already wrote an initial script for the project, which looked at events from the perspective of Prince Charming's brother, the black sheep of the Charming family. Chbosky may stick with that idea or go in a different direction. Only time will tell, but if you love 2007's Enchanted like we did, this could be another fun deconstruction of Disney's princess movies. There have been many takes on Peter Pan over the years, including the memorable Hook, directed by Steven Spielberg and starring Robin Williams as a grown-up Peter. But Disney's remake would be a live-action version of its 1953 animated film. David Lowery, who directed Pete's Dragon, was brought on to direct and co-write the script with Toby Hellbrooks. When he was hired, Lowery was also working on The Old Man and the Gun, which came out last year. Now that his focus isn't split, development for this movie could move forward more quickly. The live-action Peter Pan is also getting a companion piece in the movie Tink, based on the life and times of Peter Pan's fairy companion, Tinkerbell. Reese Witherspoon is attached to star and produce, and Victoria Strauss, the writer who scripted Finding Dory, is on board to pen the screenplay. When a live-action remake of Mulan was initially announced, it was reported that it wouldn't be a musical. Fan outcry was swift and angry. After all, the animated Mulan has some great songs like the memorable ballad Reflection. Fortunately, things have changed since that announcement, and now Mulan will be a song-packed extravaganza. The movie is being directed by Whale writers Nikki Caro and features an entirely Chinese cast. Liu Yifei plays Mulan, and a first-look image of her in Mulan's robes holding her sword has already been shared by Disney. Also, Jet Li plays the Chinese Emperor, Donnie Yen plays Mulan's mentor, Commander Tang, Yosan An plays Mulan's eventual love interest Chen, and Gong Li will play a powerful witch, who replaces Shan Yu, the leader of the Huns, as the story's antagonist. The movie is scheduled to hit theaters on March 27, 2020. In October of last year, Disney started developing a live-action remake of their 2002 feature, Lilo and Stitch. Mike Von Weiss will be writing the movie, which will be a live-action/CG hybrid since it would be a challenge to cast a real-life blue alien to star. So far, that's all the news that came out about the project. There's also been speculation that Lilo and Stitch could be released on the Disney Plus streaming platform instead of in theaters. One upcoming live-action remake that is definitely being released on Disney Plus is Lady and the Tramp. Tessa Thompson and Justin Theroux will voice the movie's canine leads, a middle-class Cocker Spaniel and the mutt from the wrong side of the tracks she falls for. The cast also includes Janelle Monáe, Kiersey Clemens, Yvette Nicole Brown, and Benedict Wong. The movie is directed by Charlie Bean, who also helmed the Lego Ninjago movie, and written by Andrew Bajalski. Intriguingly, instead of relying solely on computer-generated dogs, this live-action reimagining will actually feature real-life dogs. We're just kind of excited to see how they pull off the back alley spaghetti scene. No release date for the movie has been set, but it's already in post-production, so it could be released when Disney Plus launches later in 2019. If you loved seeing Angelina Jolie in Maleficent, you'll be happy to know that she's reprising her role later this year in the sequel, Maleficent, Mistress of Evil. In addition to Jolie, the original cast is back, including Ellie Fanning as Princess Aurora, aka Sleeping Beauty. Several other big names will be joining the cast, including Chiwetel Ejiofor, Ed Skrein, and Michelle Pfeiffer as Queen Ingrid. The film takes place several years after the events of Maleficent. Aurora is preparing to become queen, but is still working with Maleficent to protect the Moors and the magical creatures that dwell there. The film will appear in theaters on October 18th. Another upcoming live-action adaptation taking its cues from the success of Maleficent is Cruella. Glenn Close already portrayed the dog-napping, fur-coat-obsessed villain in the live-action adaptation of 101 Dalmatians in 1995, but this won't be a repeat of that. Instead, Cruella will be a deep dive into the early life of Cruella de Vil. Emma Stone is attached to play the title role, and Craig Gillespie will take on directing duties. The movie is currently looking for its antagonist, a character called Baroness, and Nicole Kidman is at the top of Disney's wish list. The movie will be set in 1970s London when Cruella still went by Estella. It will tell the story of how her hatred of Dalmatians originated. The studio is hoping to start shooting Cruella by the end of the year with an eye towards a potential 2020 release. Last but certainly not least is The Lion King. This live-action remake is scheduled to roar into theaters later this year on July 19th. The movie is so highly anticipated that when its teaser trailer debuted, it set a record for the most watched trailer in 24 hours in Disney history. Of course, the movie's also sparked some debate about what a live-action movie really is. All the Lion King's animals are computer-generated, so some argue it's still an animated film. One way or another, it looks super realistic. The Lion King boasts an impressive cast, including Donald Glover as Simba, Beyoncé as Nala, Chiwetel Ejiofor as Scar, Billy Eichner as Timon, Seth Rogen as Pumbaa, and James Earl Jones reprising his role from the original animated film as Mufasa. Jon Favreau, who already showed he has a way with hyper-realistic CGI animals in The Jungle Book, is directing. There you have it, all 20 live-action remakes that are on the horizon from Disney. That's a lot of movies. Enough to keep even the biggest Disney fans occupied for years to come. Which one of these remakes are you most excited to see? Share your pick in the comments. Also, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like. Thanks for watching.